Hey everybody, it's Mandy Gibbons here, and I'm here with Aaron. And I'd really love Aaron to introduce himself and, just tell us a little bit about what the Outback Mind Foundation is all about. I was recently, was it last year, I think, Aaron invited me onto his podcast show. And so now he's on mine. And, Aaron is doing some incredible work with men in regional areas, but I'll let him share his awesomeness about what he's up to. So welcome, Aaron.
Thank you, Mandy. Really honoured to be here doing this with you today. And thanks very much for your support and interest in this sort of stuff. Men's health is has been neglected for a long time, and I've lived, experienced it. I've sort of gone through the whole system and come out the other end to actually realise we've got to do something. So my journey is your traditional one, going through school, going into work, getting burnt out, wondering who the hell I am, and then luckily coming out the other side, because a lot of people don't, they'll either end up maybe taking their life or end up, with a mental health problem. And I was quite lucky that I was able to observe it, move through it, and find solutions and tools and strategies to manage myself, I'm still here. 13, 14 years ago, I was quite close to taking my own life because I was just, so stressed and burnt out and really feeling unsupported and, nothing like what we're doing today was around. You couldn't go to get your guidance from a men's health, organisation, or have conversations with people like yourself about this sort of stuff. And, things have evolved. We've still got a long way to go. I reckon, my vision is I've set up this health promotion charity now, the Outback Mind Foundation, is to be able to get out there and do work in towns and regional communities to be able to help guys learn how to manage their nervous system and self-regulate and be a bit more self-aware rather than being reactive and, when something goes wrong, feeling miserable or going and hitting the booze or the drugs, to be able to be more conscious about the way they feel and be able to express those sorts of feelings if they need to, rather than be feeling shameful about doing that. I don't think it's doing anyone any good, and I think what we're in at the moment is a pivotal moment in time where we can actually start to evolve and make these sorts of positive changes moving forward, so people can start to enjoy their life rather than sort of be trapped in feelings of depression or anxiety or whatever as well.
And do you mind if I ask, what are some of the ways that when you're actually going to regional areas or even like hosting, local groups for men to come and be supported, how does that work for you guys?
It's pretty much about capacity building. So looking at what's going on, what can we do to functionally do things on a daily basis, which can help us improve as individuals. But more so in a group setting, like I've been really lucky to work in corporate with guys in the workplace. I've also worked in prisons. I've worked with professional athletes. Worked with year 12 boys. I've seen old men at the end of their life. So being able to see the whole gamut of men through the cycle of life and at different levels, and be able to help me understand that we're all actually really connected from our hearts, and being able to get back to that again, giving people tools and strategies on how they can actually start to do that, rather than just give advice which is all above the shoulders. Look at what's actually working below the shoulders, become more in tune with yourself that way. And I've been really lucky, that moment 13, 14 years ago sort of helped me change my life, and I've done lots of self-study, but also lots of study in Eastern cultures, or with Eastern cultures, around what it is to be a human, and how to actually function properly in this lifetime. And that's a lot of the stuff that I wasn't getting through the traditional education system here, and through the university system. I think we're so much more advanced in many ways as humans if we actually look at exploring what's possible outside our comfort zone. So I had to challenge myself, at a higher level to be able to, push through the judgments and opinions of the mind and move through all that, and then start to realise that I've got the ability to take sort of, control of my life and empower myself and bring the tools in which actually support my well-being. And I believe if you can do that on a daily basis, then you can, really thrive, rather than being disconnected, like society sort of tries to take us, down that path, of being in fear, shame, and guilt consistently. I'd rather be in happiness, contentment, kindness, compassion, all those sort of high levels of consciousness, which are all within us. We're just going to learn how to tap into them.
Yeah, that's right. And we'll talk about regulating the nervous system in a moment, because I'm super passionate about that. So I can't wait to talk about that with you. So would you mind sharing a little bit about your own discovery of that, and your own experience of what you were going through, if you can share that, for anyone who's listening to this and watching this, so they can resonate with that or get some insights for themselves into that.
Yeah, I sort of thought coming through life that I was going to be seen as being successful if I had a status, or I had a profile with regards to the role that I was doing, or the amount of money that I'd earned, the assets that I had, so I could compare myself with other people, and people would compare themselves with me. And that's really what school taught us, to do that. And at the age of 37, I got to point where I was burnt out. I was travelling a lot. I wasn't at home much. I got home one day and I looked around and I thought, why the hell am I working, for all this when I'm miserable? I was really stressed. My employer wasn't supportive of that. I went to a doctor. The doctor said, you can do two things. I can give you medication or you can exercise. And I was lucky, because most doctors would say, take this, So, yeah, I was one of those guys which was really self-critical and, always worried about what other people thought about me. That night I got home, and we lived in a country area where we never got junk mail, but in the letterbox that night was a pamphlet for the first 24-hour gym that was going to open in Australia. I rang them, I signed up, it opened within a week or two, and I was getting in there at 4 a.m. and really just all the stuff was coming up, all the opinions of others and the labelling and that sort of stuff of me was present when I was working my body. And it took me a month, 2 months, 3 months to strip all that back, and then I started to see some physical change, and that brought in some confidence. And within 6 months, I completely changed my body, but it also helped, the way I felt. Within 12 months, I was really fit. Within 18 months, I was competing in events at a high level. And within 2 years, I was training professional athletes. So I took myself from that state of, unworthiness into a state of growth. And it was that moment and that platform which helped me do that.
Yeah.
So I believe that's available to any man or any woman if we can just find time to be able to, commit to our well-being, and that was it. So I'd commit 2 hours every day to my well-being, 10% of my day, and until this day I still do that. So that's evolved outside the high-level fitness into other forms of self-care. But primarily, these are the skills that I wish I had when I was a young boy.
Yeah, that's it. And not only that too, when you are moving through that process, you do basically self-awareness starts popping up, right? Without you even realizing it, you get to learn so much more about yourself and how you're feeling about yourself. And I think it's really important when we're moving through those emotions and going through times where we're maybe questioning ourselves or even having insights, or no matter how we're feeling, to be able to think about the emotions that we're feeling at the time, and you know what I mean, and how our body is actually reacting to that, because in that we then get to be able to rewire our mind and body, right?
Absolutely. The body's always giving us messages and signals all the time. You know, we just don't know how to read them, or we're not aware enough to read them. We're always, you know, our mind's at speed. My big moment of change was coming out of that fitness realm. One day I was out running for 3 or 4 hours or something, and I had this light bulb to say, what do I need to make myself feel good without putting my body through hell? And, you know, I went to Buddhism, and Buddhism just challenged me to another level to sit still, you know, and observe and listen to myself. And I was so distracted away from that because really I was on edge from the age of 12. Like, you know, school really made me feel anxious, I guess, you know, and in threat. So I've been like that ever since, and having to really, you know, get back into my body again was difficult because a lot of tension really gets stored in the body, and you know, over time that become easier. The next shift for me was to get into yoga. The physical side of the yoga, where it was challenging, that was easy. But the yin yoga, which I'm passionate about teaching, is actually doing the complete opposite, where it's helping you release stuff from your body. And when you release tension from your body and your hips, you release, you know, tension from your mind. And this is something I've been really lucky to teach other guys. I've had some great teachers myself, which have taught me. I've invested a lot of money in myself with regards to being educated by the right people, and I've seen people's lives change in front of my eyes. You know, consistently. When I can help someone move energy out of their body that's been stuck there for a long time, the bad hip or the bad back or whatever, that's just not physical. There's a lot of emotions that are getting stored there as well. If you can help move that through, it's amazing what can happen for an individual, you know, rather than keep pushing it down and blocking it. You know, helping people work through it is a real gift, and you know, that's the sort of stuff I really enjoy, and I feel it's my purpose to be able to do more of that.
Yeah, and especially, you know, with men and women, but, you know, particularly with men, how do you find that they tend to resist releasing stuff from their bodies?
Oh, look, I've had, I'm going to kill you. Can I swear?
Yeah, of course you can.
I'm going to kill you, can't this, that, the other. Just,
Yeah.
So you're okay, mate. You're okay. You're safe here. Once you help an individual feel that and drop into it, they get back to the little boy.
Yeah.
Once the little boy can be held, then stuff can start to be released and move through. So, yeah, I guess one thing I'm really lucky to have is going through that fitness side. I was able to learn to fight at a high level too.
Yes.
So that gave me the ability to feel, you know, confident within myself if I am challenged by another individual. So, you know, I see behaviour, I see where the behaviour is coming from. And if I can help an individual feel, you know, safe and calm, then the ability for you to be able to help them is much greater. So rather than forcing someone, you know, helping guide them and give them the support they need. And yeah, I've had you know, maximum security prisoners which are quite agitated, you know, be able to calm down. And if you can do that, you can really do it with anyone. And their mind is just as busy as the CEOs, as the Year 12 boys, as a high-level athlete, you know. They've all got pressure. If you can help them release that pressure, then they start to feel themselves again.
That's awesome. And, you know, when you think about, I feel like actually ringing all those people and saying, get on this podcast with us and tell us your story about this, you know what I mean? Because it's so, I would love to talk to those people to see what that felt like, you know, for them inside, because it's feeling safe within yourself that's a huge challenge for all of us, right? We are programmed to feel so unsafe with our emotions and just how we move through life, right? And so being able to bring that to yourself and that self-compassion and just being able to be kinder to ourselves as we are moving through whatever we're feeling is so powerful.
It is, and it's hard, you know. I think the education system's got a lot to answer for. because it's disempowered us away from that.
Yeah.
You know, it's made us to be reactive rather than be proactive, put a lot of shit on us. You know, to be able to let go of all that is difficult. You know, to be a warrior in this lifetime is beyond, you know, what we perceive ourselves to be. To be a warrior in this lifetime is to someone that can actually stand up and say, yeah, I'm here, I can help you, I can guide you through. You know, life's meant to be a gift, not a misery at the end of the day. You know, everything's trying to work for us, not against us. We're just sort of, we've just got this mindset where everything's against us, you know. When we actually start to see that everything's trying to support us outside the make-believe systems that we're in, then it's a pretty good life to be in. You know, at the end of the day, that's my job, to try and help others, you know, discover that.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
That's so cool. And when you do your men's circles, you sort of bring that into that as well?
Absolutely, yeah. It's been amazing. I started doing men's circles at the Buddhist Centre in Hobart. You know, when I was down there, when I got into Buddhism, I said to one of the monks, I said, "Oh, what do you reckon? I'll get a few guys in there and we'll run a men's circle." And yeah, that worked. And I had a monk sitting next to me, and I was like guiding the guys and that sort of grew pretty well. That was really confronting for someone to come into that setting, but that sort of grew. I went back to country Victoria, started doing them there. Now I'm up in Central Queensland, I'm doing them here, and it's amazing. Like the other night, this is how much it's evolved. Like, you know, I've had it running for nearly a couple of years. Some of the guys are really foundational. They've been there since the beginning. A lot of them are newer. So the other night we had Carver, you know, the drink from Samoa and that, and didgeridoo, guy playing the didgeridoo. And, you know, that sort of stuff is just, you know, we've gone past the whinging sessions, coming there and complaining. It's all about capacity building, you know. So every time we have a circle, it's always about growth, you know. If someone's got an issue, then we discuss that and we help them through it. We put our arms around them. But also, you know, it's about growing and empowering people, you know. And the circles that we do, I really want to expand them throughout the country. So that's such a great model to share, you know, and to have people facilitate them in their own communities is really empowering themselves in their own communities as well, you know. And we've got enough whinging going on in the world. It's necessary to do that sometimes, but I think if we can support and empower each other, you know, life can be so much better.
I cannot believe that we're talking about this right now, because I was only having a conversation with someone yesterday about this, because I was finding when I was talking to men, they were struggling with some men's circles that they were going to, because they didn't feel like they were getting growth from it. Yeah. You know, and there was a lot of complaining and so forth, and they just they weren't feeling connection. It felt like more of a boys' club based on trying to outdo each other and all kinds of stuff. And I was thinking to myself, how do we change this? And I knew, and I was so excited knowing I was talking to you today, because I knew that you're very much about helping guys move forward, as well as regulating their nervous system and so many other great things, because that's so powerful. This is how we actually create true transformation, right? And help guys really become the warriors and the men that they truly want to be from inside here.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of guys are stuck and pretty miserable, but yeah, to be able to help them grow and to you know, experience a situation where they do feel like they can let go and feel safe, it's really important. So I teach them meditation through it. You know, I teach other practical tools and solutions, but also I've got other guys that are bringing their skills in too. You know, and we'll always have a guest speaker come along and they can talk about their own lived experience, so we can all, you know, learn from them as well, to be able to develop, you know, tools to help empower ourselves, but also builds community and strength of community as well, you know. So it's really important. And, you know, I'll swear again, but a lot of the men's circles are dick pulling sessions. You know, we've got enough of that in life. You know, we don't need any more ego. We need more compassion, and we need more heart-based spaces where we can actually start to learn to be ourselves again, rather than live in the ego too much.
So refreshing to hear that. I love that so much, and that's why I was so excited about having you on today, because I love the model that and just the way that you're bringing this into men's circles, right? Because I really feel like, even because I know also that you're very open in regards to like communication with women and so forth as well, and that's another thing that I found, even with guys with the men's circles, they've actually become more afraid of women via these things. And I'm thinking, well, this isn't a good thing, you know what I mean? Because we want men to be able to feel safe within themselves, safe with men and safe with women too, right?
Yep, yeah, for sure. Yeah, look, I think if someone can feel comfortable within their own skin, then their relationship with themselves improves, but also the relationships with others improve. One thing that I help these guys understand that is, before you say I love you, you first must understand I. So there's no point looking for happiness inside someone else if you don't really understand yourself. It's great to be able to share your life with someone, but at the same time, if you're uncomfortable within yourself and you're looking for an outsource to fix that, the chances of you having failure are significant.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I'm so excited. And I know that even on the podcast that when I was on your podcast, we spoke about relationships, a fair bit on that. And so, how are you also helping, because obviously you're supporting men with relationships with themselves, but also with others. So how do you see that playing out? Because that would be a wonderful experience for them as well, right?
Yeah, my thing is, and this is evolving, is for everyone in that circle to keep each other accountable.
Yeah.
So in the community, if they say that they want to do something, and we're talking to them regularly when we're around to ask how they're going about stuff, but also, just having the ability to have that network and support. And a lot of these guys are, bumping into each other. They become friends. There's a few guys that were quite isolated before, now they're not. That's the thing in regional Australia. We are separated or isolated considerably. I know, coming where I'm from, was so lonely in many ways, because, you did feel like you were separate. That's why this sort of stuff's really important, because you can build a community within a community, and that sort of thing's really important. So a sports club is great too, but also a sports club is competitive. So it still builds that separation. You want to try and build camaraderie and collaboration, I think, is really important as well, and connection and compassion, rather than judgment, fear, shame, guilt, greed, all the bullshit that we get caught up in,
Hell yeah.
And catch that out when it comes.
Yeah, this is so good. And so that would also be wonderful when you're taking that into like workplaces and supporting people into workplaces as well, because that does come into that environment as well, right? And brings up a lot of fear for people.
Definitely, yeah. My vision is to have workplaces be more transformational rather than transactional. So people go to work, they actually feel supported, and they feel cared for, like we did back in the 90s and 80s, and that's the way it was. You went to work and you were part of something, and you got looked after. Now it's just like, you get your money, you go home, it's dog eat dog. My dad used to love that word, and that's the way I was brought up. It become dog eat dog as I went through high school, and that's a terrible way to live your life, to go into that competitive mindset consistently in the workplace. That's the thing. It's just dumb that employers just expect to turn people over. And just think it's the norm to have people like leave consistently and go up the road for a couple of bucks an hour. Well, how about investing in your staff and investing in the well-being of your people and keeping them? I think that's such a better idea. This model that we've got that's gone through the university system old mate doing his MBA and the HR lady doing her MBA and that. It's teaching them the wrong mindset altogether. What changed was in, I think it was 99 or 2000 when KPIs started to come in. People started to feel like they had to perform, and they weren't part of something. They were really accountable for the wrong reasons. And, I know myself coming through that, just how confronting it was, actually was. And then you couldn't really engage in the workplace at the same level as what you had previously, because before you did feel like you were part of something that's safe, but all of a sudden you're being judged, and I just think that's if you work for an employer and you commit to an employer and you feel safe and valued there, then everything's going to take care of itself at the end of the day. We've just got to ask about, we've got to go back to that more compassionate way of thinking, of looking after people, I reckon, for sure.
Yeah. And how has this work help transform your life, right? Because that's super rewarding, like being able to do this type of work. But, by default, we get to grow within ourselves even more powerfully, right?
For sure, yeah. Well, my it's not so much frustration, but I need more employers on board that want to do this and want to make a difference, and I can help educate them and train them and teach them around what they can actually do to have a sustainable workforce which is engaged and that type of thing. Mental health in the workplace, there's issues all the time. People pull the mental health card out too easily these days because they don't know how to manage themselves. They don't know how to understand their emotions and be emotionally intelligent, know how they're feeling when they get out of bed so they can sort themselves out rather than whacking something in their mouth to push it down, So these are the sorts of skills that I like to be able to teach. But it's about the employer saying, yeah, we need to do something, and being accountable to actually do that and really want to make a difference and change. This conversation we're having today will be normal in 15 years, because it'll start to shift. So at the moment, there's still a bit of work to do to be able to help employers, embrace change, because we've gone through a pivotal period over the last couple of years. Now it's time to maybe look at starting to do something differently. But I knew 20 years ago this is what we needed then, so it's slowly evolving, but we've still got a bit of work to do.
Yeah, that's right. And I know that you've got appointments and stuff coming up, so I want to make sure that I get as much awesomeness into this as possible while you're here. So is there ways that, because I'd really love to talk about this, because I just adore what you're doing, right? And I'm super passionate and want to get behind you and want other people to get behind you as much as possible. So how can people actually get behind you and support you? Is there, and do you rely on, because obviously this is very ground roots, right? And ground roots takes a lot of work and a lot of effort on your part and a lot of hours, but it comes from here, right? It's all from your heart and soul that you're pouring. So how can people, if they want to volunteer and help you, what are some of the things that you would love to just put out there and say, hey, I need help with this, this and this, contact me, reach out to me, I want to brainstorm on this or whatever, just throw it at us. Yeah.
On Facebook, we've got an Outback Mind ambassadors page, and that's just one vehicle. But really, I need help with helping find grants, applying for grants, people to be part of the Outback Mind network in their own communities, to be able to build awareness in those regions, for the Outback Mind to potentially be sustainable enough so we can pay people to work in full-time roles in different locations throughout Australia. So at the moment, it's just me. I'm doing it for nothing, but I'm relying on donations and I'm not getting many of them. So, to be able to get some financial contributions would be great, but primarily I want that to come from industry. I want it to come from employers and that too. And also, if we can get grants, then we can go out to workplaces and do work, for low or no costs, for donations or whatever, to be able to go into a small company which has got 10 staff and help them. you know, because out of that 10 staff, there's probably 4 that are struggling with something, you know. So if we can go out and do proactive work, you know, in those workplaces, it's not going to be a huge impact to the employer. And to be able to partner with them, you know, I want long-term relationships. I don't want a Band-Aid fix. You know, that doesn't work. You know, lots of companies get someone in occasionally to talk about something, and then they take off and they never heard from again. To be able to really partner with an outsourced entity, this is why the Outback Mind Foundation is really, really good, because it's a charity now. It's a health promotion charity, so it's all tax deductible for an organisation. So that sort of stuff's really what I need to be able to partner with the right organisations that want to make a difference. But if the average person out there is listening to this and they want to help, you know, definitely touch base, and we'll look at ways and how that can happen. You might have skills, you know, in IT, you might have skills in social media, which I'm hopeless at, all that sort of stuff. You know, really my vision is to hand all that over so I can go out and do the work and help and find other people to do the work too. You know, get out there and start to build a tribe of facilitators throughout Australia. You know, that's really what I'd love to be able to have and do, and not worry about the money, because the money will take care of itself, you know, coming in, because people really believe in this and it works. You know, I think we've donated enough money to Beyond Blue over the years. We've donated enough money to Movember and that over the years. You know, a lot of that money isn't going back into communities. We've got to actually start to drive resources and dollars back into our own communities to start to, you know, get that return on investment, because really supporting those organisations is great, but, you know, is it really having an impact? I'm not sure about that. That's why we're here to make a difference around that, I guess, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's important, because I love what you're doing, and you know, your passion about helping local and regional communities, right? Because you are bang on right. There are so many organizations that are, you know, I guess that are doing a lot of fundraising, but the money definitely just is not going back to the regional areas. It's not helping those local communities, where you're wanting to actually change that and transform that and be able to help strengthen regional communities in such a wonderful way. And like, I'm super excited. Like, I want to share this everywhere, because I want people to know, you know, because I also see, I remember when I first spoke with you, I very much had a vision straight away of the Outback Mind being Australia-wide, right? And I'm super amped for you, you know, to see people, you know, to even see that happen over in Western Australia here as well.
Oh, look, I'd love that. I just love, like you or someone or whoever's got time to say, we want to get this going in this area, you know, and then we can start to look at how we can do it, you know. And if I've got support from a corporate to say, here's some money, we want you to go out and do this work, the PR for them is significant. You know, they get great public relations from being involved in something like this. But I'm not just wanting someone that's got a financial interest. I want an organisation that's got a genuine interest to make a difference here, you know. And we've actually got to draw a line in the sand to realise a lot of what we've been doing doesn't work. You know, it doesn't work. We wouldn't have the issues that we're having if it did, you know. We've got escalating problems rather than declining problems. You know, let's actually get out there and start to do work at the coalface more and more, rather than, you know, keep trying to reinvent the wheel, because the wheel just hasn't been spinning.
Yeah, that's it. I know even with in mining industries and other industries as well, you know, there's this thing where they'll just have someone come in, as you say, you know, they'll come in and do a talk, and everyone will feel wonderful till lunchtime, you know, or and then go back to work the next day or whatever, and then they're just like, it's over. You know, they're not feeling inspired anymore. There's no tools. It was great, but I guess, you know, for some companies that can just be a tick in the box for addressing mental health, and that's it. But we've done our bit today. That'll cover us for the year.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I've been there. I've seen how it works, you know, and I knew years ago that wasn't the way to go, and it's still going on now. it's time to change that. And that's why I really believe in what I'm doing, because I'm helping people learn skills and tools, and we're all the same at the end of the day. We've just got to learn how we can function better and actually put time in ourselves to do that. The nervous system is an amazing thing. If you work with it, it'll work well for you. If you don't, then it's going to give you a kick up the arse at some stage, Yeah. And we're meant to be living in disease, not in disease. We've got this wrong mindset where we're just waiting for something to go wrong, and then we're dealing with it. But if we can start to live more functionally and fluently, then all of a sudden, things work better, above the shoulders and below the shoulders. And if you can feel good within yourself, then, if you're going to go to work, you're going to be better at work, and you're going to be better in your relationship. Just here in Central Queensland, domestic violence is through the roof. I did a lot of work last year in prisons, and the majority of people that were in there for domestic violence issues. Are we doing much to address that? Probably not. We're still punishing people when they do the wrong thing, but we don't know why old mate's misbehaving. To be able to help old mate learn how to calm down is really what I'm about, so they don't misbehave or do things which are detrimental to themselves or others. That's really where we've got an opportunity to turn the corner.
That's it. And when you think about that, when you do that, then you're able to break the cycle of that, right, in that person's family, because they might be in prison, but they might have sons or daughters that are at home, you know what I mean, that are not being able to heal from that experience, that they've seen their parents go through or whatever. So it just keeps going on and on and on.
Absolutely. I can name 100 people, I reckon, over the last few years that I've actually helped transform to break that cycle. So I've helped people understand that they've got a moment now to disrupt, that lineage of behaviour. I always say 7 and 7. So the last 7 generations have come into your body, and this is why you're behaving this way, because you did it, your dad did it, granddad did it, his dad probably did it, and now you're doing it. So how about we actually disrupt that now, because you're going to do the same thing to your son and so forth. So a guy a year or two ago, he was in jail with his son. I wasn't involved with this guy directly, but he said he was a career criminal, and his whole family way back was too. He saw an opportunity to say, bang, I'm changing now. So his son got out, his son had a kid, and so he's broken that cycle, from all that. Now he's working, he's doing all these great things. But, if someone can be, helped along the way of feeling like they're supported and they're safe and they're actually important in this lifetime, then all of a sudden you empower them to make a difference, and then that cycle gets interrupted and broken. This colonial model that we work in is all about punishment, so we're going to keep punishing Billy Smith because his dad David Smith did it, and his son Bob Smith's going to do it, and we just got this this system of just discontent and disconnection. Let's actually do things now so we can help people rather than just keep punishing for trauma that's not their fault, because it's just been passed down.
And not only that too, when our whole system is programmed to fuel people's insecurities and fears, and then we turn around and punish them for that. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't take responsibility for where you're at and your own healing and so forth. You know what I mean? It's important. You can't just blame everyone for everything that's going on. It's no wonder so many people who you maybe wouldn't think have PTSD have it from various things that have taken place in their life, or just because it's been an ongoing thing that's taken place because of their environment that they've been in, and they're just so emotionally, mentally, physically exhausted. And you'll see people snap because they just don't know what to do. It's not because they're a horrible person or because, you know what I mean, they've just been pushed to the point of no return, that they just don't know how to handle things anymore.
Absolutely, yeah, and not being aware of that and not understanding cortisol and where that's spiked and all those sorts of things. So these are things that we can teach practically and help them understand I hope people understand this, rather than actually like just be disconnected from it. But yeah, like to be able to have that emotional intelligence is within all of us. We're just going to learn how that's actually, flowing within ourselves so we can regulate it, I guess, at the end of the day. And that's how we can start to shift behaviours and shift, some of the problems that we've got in life, because, being reactive is the way we're trained. It's all about, being in fear. When we're in fear, we're controlled, we really are. And if we're made to feel shameful or guilty, even better, but primarily if you're able to observe that and understand where that emotion's taking you, then you can move out of it a lot more freely and easily. And we've all got the power to do that. I really believe it,
Yeah. No, I love your work so much. And so when you talk about the nervous system and being able to calm that down, are you able to sort of just like quickly explain that? Doesn't have to be too scientific, but just so people like understand that, because when you're able to do that puts your body into rest and recovery mode as well, which is so healing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I know, like, just say, for example, our hemispheres in our brain, if our right brain's dominant or our left brain's dominant, and we're either depressed or anxious or whatever, and we're going to swing between the two. But if you can get back to more of a neutral mind, you've got nice energy flow, and all of a sudden your body will calm down. It'll start to work more as one rather than being in tension. So to be able to use the tools that you've got within your body, so using the opposite side of your body more often and being aware of that will help your mind become more content. Using your breath more fluently, and being aware of the breath, and when you are thinking too much, noticing how your breath's short. So to be able to, control that and start to have that work for you rather than against you. Getting your body working a little bit more functionally. One guy did a presentation 2 weeks ago, and the other presenter was standing like, one leg higher than the other, one of the, lefties or righties. And I just pulled him up and said, mate, neutral like this. And then basically I saw him calm down straight away, because he was in ego and he was anxious about doing his presentation. Once he started to balance his body out, then all of a sudden he started to calm down. So you can see in someone, how they're feeling by the way their body language actually is. And it's that sort of stuff, to be aware, to be able to catch yourself out, to be aware of your habits and your behaviours. If you're going to tell a lie, where's the lie coming from? Being able to see that before it actually happens, and come back to that sort of realisation and regulation again. So that sort of stuff. If you can start to be true to yourself, then all of a sudden, you are feeling better and you're more confident and working with the energy of the body rather than against it. So when you're untruthful, or whether you're doing something which is unaligned with you, then that reactive state goes into your body, and that can cause dis-ease primarily. So just being aware of your emotions, I think, is key. It's something which we're really disconnected from. It's something we've got to practice, on a daily basis to actually have that self-observation and that self-awareness. I think is a skill that most of us don't have. That's for sure.
Yeah. And it's funny, isn't it? Because that's all the type of stuff that we really should be learning in school.
Yeah. Well, let's look at that. The whole education system is there to help us, be trained to support the economy. It's not really helping us to support ourselves and look after ourselves at the end of the day. So to be aware of that is the first step. What did school really teach me? It taught me to be stressed, to be anxious, to be judgmental, to be critical, to compete, compare, all that sort of stuff. There were some good parts about it, absolutely, but the majority was really putting us in this state of compliance, and we're getting spat out the other end, and we're in this system of debt and disconnection and all that too. And a lot of us go through life and get to the end of it and think, well, what the fuck was that all about?
Yeah.
Our job is to disrupt that. It really is. Some of the work I mentioned before that I've done is to work with old men and actually ask some of the things that, you know, that they really regretted in their life and what they actually really enjoyed. And all the enjoyment comes from doing things from the heart space, doing things to help others and being in this nice energy rather than, being in disconnection. And, that's free. That doesn't cost us anything. School and that education system teaches us to disconnect from that and from our heart space, do more things to connect with your heart space, and all of a sudden your life can work for you rather than against you. And, that's what we've got to get back to at the end of the day.
It's funny, isn't it, how we are taught to be afraid of living a purposeful life.
Yeah, absolutely. Dead right. Yeah. Everyone's got a gift within them, Everyone's here for a reason. Everyone's got a gift within them. We've just been, disconnected from that. So when I was a young bloke, I really wanted to be an actor. I love that performance and just what performance is about. But I just love the flowing energy of, a character and that sort of thing. And my school never provided opportunities for that. So I just lost interest. But I'm so grateful now because I would have been a performer. I would never have really got to know myself, And I see so many people that are either professional athletes or they're musicians or they're actors or whatever. They've actually lost connection with themselves, and they're using drugs and alcohol and that consistently because they've never had a chance to be themselves because they're always trying to be someone else. Their identity. We've got to look at a relationship with ourselves beyond our identity. There's so much more to that than what we actually know.
And even in like for people that are outside of those areas and in other industries, performing, behaving and taking action in a certain way for which you feel that you feel that like other people perceive that you should be, behaving in that way or taking action in that way. We do live from wanting people's approval, right? And feeling like we have to perform to please those people, and otherwise we're not going to look a certain way. We're not going to be, the man or the woman, especially for men, we're not going to be the man that someone can look up to as being able to have his shit together.
Oh, it's one of them. Yeah, I get that. Most guys, 9.5 out of 10 prostitute themselves.
Yep. They're
doing things that they don't want to do, to please others or to please dad or to please society. But my vision is just to help that little boy inside connect to what their truth is and then follow that. And then they can get to the end of life and think, yeah, that was great, rather than, maybe getting to the stage where they get their super and maybe live a few more years and get the caravan and that's it, We can start to actually live our lives now more functionally and freely if we put time and into that and we're conscious of that. Because, I remember when I was 18, I was getting pushed to get private supers then, so I could retire at 50. Well, I'm 50 now and I'm not retired. But, life could have been more enjoyable if I hadn't had that education that we're talking about now back then. Your life is a gift. Your life is a gift. You're here for a reason. That type of thing, and that actually start to empower people and disempower people. And have you become something you don't want to be?
Yeah. And I know even, a lot of us that are very visionary and, want to entrepreneurial and all of that. I know for myself, throughout the years, people and, wanted to follow my passion and my purpose and always knew that even from a kid. But people would used to bag the crap out of me and just think I was, where are you, just living in Mandyland? What are they like? They just thought I'd lost the plot. And they used to be scared of how driven I would be when it came to purpose and how I would throw myself into it, But also then in the secret moments that we would have, where we would have these private conversations, they would say to me, Mandy, I wish I could live my life like how you live yours, with so much passion. That terrifies me to even want to do that for myself, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's right. Like, a lot of those guys that were like that when I was at school are now overweight alcoholics.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they looked like they were on track back then, but now they're so off track it's not funny. You know, maybe they got driven into a life that someone else expected of them rather than what they wanted within themselves. You know. Yeah, and you know, I think, you know, you as an individual, you've actually like stayed true with your path primarily, and that's a gift in itself, because you know not many people have that opportunity where we're doing things outside ourselves to please others or to meet an agenda or whatever. But yeah, I just think we can get ourselves back on track if we actually put work into that, you know, and live in alignment rather than disalignment, you know. That's why I guess we do the work that we do to help people unpack and uncover that. It's really important, you know.
Yeah.
We're not meant to be doing things that we really don't want to do. Let's do things that we do want to do and have purpose in our life. I just think that's our birthright.
Yeah, I do too. I believe that we're on this earth and this planet and in this universe to help others, to serve and to live purposeful lives, so that we can, you know, get to the end of our life and go, wow, wow,
Yeah,
you know.
that's it. Definitely, yeah, of course, you know, and that's available to us every day. You know, there's amazing things that happen. I love when I walk out the front and I can turn left or turn right. I'm going to get a different outcome either way. And people cross paths with you, or things cross paths with you. There's always stuff going on. And I believe, you know, everything happens for a reason. It really does. Yeah. You know, if you just go with the flow of it all and, you know, you see when things come into your path and why they come into your path for a reason and all those sorts of things, you know, because life's showing you what to do consistently. We're just getting in our own road too much.
Yeah, that's right. That's cool. Oh, that's
so
good. Well, I'm going to wrap this up because I know you've got appointments, and thank you so much for today. It's been absolutely brilliant. Can I just ask how people can reach out to you if they want to like be able to like have you, like they might want to support you with its fundraising or be a part of Outback Mind Foundation, or, you know, find other ways that they can support you because they feel so inspired today by what you've brought. So yeah, just like let us know what's the easiest way to get hold of you.
Just Google the Outback Mind Foundation. Yeah, it's usually outbackmind.org.au, but there was a bit of a glitch for that. So just go to the Outback Mind Foundation. The website should come up, but it's on LinkedIn and it's on Outback Mind's on Facebook. I want to get off Facebook. It's driving me bloody mad. But yeah, so any of that sort of stuff. If there's anyone out there that, you know, be interested in you know, helping out in some way, or if I can help you out or whatever, you know, more than happy to. And yeah, I'm really grateful for the chance to have a chat to you, and I'm sure we'll have many more in the track, that's for sure. And
Aaron's also got a podcast as well, which is amazing. So have a listen to that too.
Yeah, the Outback Mind Podcast on Spotify and iTunes, if you want to check it out.
Awesome. All right, thanks so much for coming on today. It's been amazing to catch up.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. It's awesome to have everyone on today. Thanks again, Aaron. And we'll be catching up with everyone soon. And I'm going to put Aaron's links underneath this so that if you want to reach out to him direct, you absolutely can.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, big hugs. See you later.